Hey everybody, this is Al Moranton with MOVIDA. I'm excited to be here with you today for episode 5 of MOVIDA Live. Let's get right on into today. We're talking about how your food is being quietly sprayed with cancer-causing chemicals or toxic chemicals. Okay, and first I'll go ahead and say who this is for, basically, just so you could know whether to continue to watch or not. Okay, so this is basically sort of for people that are familiar with like GMOs and they're trying to stay away from them. If you're like a pro GMO person, you might still want to watch this because this isn't about GMOs, but this is for people that are trying to stay away, the holistic health kind of people, like our people, and but they think that they're doing better by eating non-GMO stuff, and they're eating things that actually have like the non-GMO project verified label on their on the foods and things like that. Not that the organization isn't good. I've met them before and they are awesome. But we are getting like sort of bamboozled in the food industry by basically Monsanto, the big guy, right? And the worldwide guy. So we're going to go over that. And so like I said, it's not about the GMOs. It's about the chemicals that are being sprayed, that are sprayed on GMOs, that are sprayed on other foods now, and they have been for quite some time. Real quick, I am a certified GMO speaker. I've been studying GMOs pretty much since they came out. The first ones were soy and corn in '96 and '98, and they were what they call Roundup ready, and they were genetically modified to handle these certain chemicals that we're going to talk about today. The chemical name is glyphosate, but it's basically just a poison, right? But glyphosate is the name. So you're going to hear that and just think of poison and danger to your body whenever you hear that word, okay? So a few weeks ago, I spoke at this pretty cool conference called Question Everything, the Question Everything Conference 2019, right here in Southern California. And there were speakers from all over. They were the top, in their field, and for their particular area of expertise. And I was the CBD cannabis guy, right? So so I went up there and or down there, and the night before there was a speaker dinner, right? And it was pretty cool because a lot of the speakers were like, "Hey, we were excited to hear your talk," and blah blah blah. And it was like really cool. I was like, I didn't know how they were going to accept me because they're like, bigger doggies, and it was really cool. So I'm talking to one of the wives because a lot of the speakers were men, and the wives and the men were, but the wives especially were really into holistic health for whatever reason, and they were into like no chemicals, and they even made their own like cleaning stuff and everything. And I was talking to this girl from Lubbock, Texas, right? And she said that they spray like crazy Roundup over there, which has glyphosate in it, right? It's the main ingredient. And she said like that people don't go outside their house for like 5 days afterwards because their face will get numb and it just makes them sick, and it's crazy, like it's nuts, and it's like a known thing. And I've heard that before in like interviews, and I saw it like in a documentary here and there, but never met anybody, right? So I'm sitting there going, okay, is she like exaggerating? And because there's like hypochondriac kind of people, and then people that exaggerate and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but then there was another speaker there, and she goes, hey, you should come visit us. You and your wife come visit us, and we'll hang out in Lubbock. And he's like, hell no, I'm not going to Lubbock. You guys got that Roundup rain out there. And it was like Roundup, so like this, rain from the from the chemicals from being sprayed all the time and everything. It just it's crazy, like, but it's like this known thing in the Midwest, right? And I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's like a known thing. And so it's just like verifying some stuff. And but then I talked to another woman, and her husband lived in Texas and moved with her. They're both like real prominent speakers, and they're like this couple, and it's really whatever. But anyways, they live in Canada, where she's from, and her family is all farmers. And she said, without even knowing about the other conversation, this is the next day, and she said that she actually makes all her own cleaning stuff and everything like that, and like, does as holistic and healthy as she can be, right? So she doesn't eat her family's wheat, the bread and all that kind of stuff. No, she doesn't eat Canadian bread at all because she says it's sprayed with glyphosate, right? And as far as I know, like there's no, I mean, sure there is genetically modified wheat out there, but like none that's being, that they say is out there, to the human population is released. And so I'm like, how could there be, the Roundup being sprayed on non-GMO stuff, right? And because it would kill it, because what the glyphosate does is it kills everything, and except for things that are Roundup ready, that have been genetically modified to handle it, right? So it kills everything, weeds, other plants, everything, right? So if you sprayed it on there all the time, because she goes, yeah, they just spray it like 5 times and blah, blah, blah. Just like they said down in Lubbock, they do like 5 Roundup sprays and then a final spray that didn't make sense to her, right? This one up here said this same thing, but they spray with the regular pesticides, and then at the end they do a Roundup spray. And I was like, what the hell's going on with that? It doesn't make any sense. And then an article came up today. That said the same thing. And so I researched a little bit, and sure enough, it's happening, and it's been happening even before GMOs, like back in this like 70s and 80s, right? When it was first developed. And it's because it's not only the glyphosate isn't only known as an herbicide that kills weeds and other plants and stuff like that, but it's also known as a desiccant, which means it dries out the plants, right? So they spray it on the plants, and they're able to be harvested 2 weeks early, right? So you could do multiple harvests. If you're able to do multiple harvests in a year, you're able to do more of them. And then like where that girl lives and her husband up in Canada, it's really cold and they have a really short season, so they need something like that to dry it out quicker so they could actually have food, right? Whatever. But there are safer ways to do it, but they use this, and it's crazy, right? So they're spraying the regular pesticides, which are harmful, whatever, and then they're spraying the Roundup on it the 2 weeks before it's supposed to be harvested, so it could be harvested early. And it's like, that's crazy. And what my researchers said is that, like, so that Roundup is on that food, and there's a wide amount of people eating that, and it's like non-GMO. It could even have the non-GMO Project Verified stuff on there, because they wouldn't know about that, right? And they'll probably start checking about that now, because it's becoming known. It's not just me that knows it. I researched it, and it's all over. It's easy to find, and I'll put links in the description, or whatever you call that thing, in the YouTube channel, right? But yeah, it's really crazy, and but 50% or more of dietary glyphosate is coming from that final spray. So we're getting it in non-GMO foods as well as the GMO foods, right? So people that are all in the GMOs and they want to eat them and everything, it's like they're fine with all that stuff and the chemicals, and they think it's going to save the world. Fine, let them eat that. But for people like me and our community that don't want that, then that's like an extra layer that we have to sort of sift through to find if that has that final spray on there, right? And that's a big goal for this episode right here, is to get you to understand that it's more than just the types of foods that you eat anymore. Like if it's a tomato, or or Cheetos, or broccoli, or steak, or fried chicken, like making better choices that way. It's different now, in the sense that you have to pay attention to how the food was grown or raised, like even the soil or whatever, and even the feed that the livestock has too, right? Because people say like, oh, I don't eat, like, because like a lot of the stuff is grains and legumes and things like that. Like, oh, well, like I don't eat that. I just eat veggies and I eat meat. While your meat, the feed that the livestock eat is sprayed even more heavily than the foods that we eat, right? They eat that, it absorbs into their muscle and fat, you know, and into their meat. You guys eat the meat. I'm vegan, so you guys eat the meat and you absorb all that stuff. Like it's proven in dairy and in meat, there's heavy amounts of pesticides in it, even more so than in produce. You know, I found that out when I was doing the research for my book, Better Living with Whole Foods, you know. And it's crazy. You know, like I said, I don't know if I said that. I'm a certified GMO speaker through the Institute for Responsible Technology, the Institute for Responsible Technology, Dr. Jeffrey Smith, right, founder. And you know, I was certified through him at Loyola Marymount, you know, several years back. And you know, I'm really, you know, entrenched in this. I'm not just like, oh, I read this thing and like, guys, hear this, and it just regurgitating stuff. I don't regurgitate stuff. You know, I am, you know, I'm basically a thought leader in this industry, right? So, you know, you know, I've been doing this for 32 years. So, you know, so I'm just passing on this information. That's alarming. You know, I don't eat like grains because they've been hybridized and things like that. So I have like this artisan farmer, not farmer, artisan bread maker that gets this one, you know, heirloom variety that's never been hybridized, and it's grown where it's definitely not sprayed and all kind of stuff, and it's super hard to get, super expensive, and all this kind of stuff, but it's worth it, right? That stuff's not readily available at all, right? So like I said, you have to learn how to stay away from things. Real quick, I'm going to read off some of that article, one of the articles though, but like because people, like I say, are trying to stay away from this stuff, and I'm going to put the link in there. It's like a, you know, so I'm only going to read like one paragraph, but you know, it says globally, glyphosate use has risen almost 15-fold since Roundup Ready genetically engineered glyphosate tolerant crops were introduced in 1996. So in 1996, the GMO crops were introduced, and you know, there's a lot of spraying and stuff like that. Then we get all this non-GMO stuff going, right? The non-GMO project, and all these people and people like me that wrote the books and all this kind of stuff. And people are like, I'm non-GMO and all that kind of stuff. And we think we're doing good and getting more and more organic out there, but it's risen 15-fold since then. It hasn't gone down at all. Like it's only increasing and increasing and increasing. So it is a factor in the world, right? It's because it's a global conglomerate. Monsanto is, right. So you know, it says along with wheat and oats, glyphosate is used to desiccate, to dry a wide range of other crops, including lentils, peas, non-GMO soybeans. So of course GMO, but non-GMO soybeans as well. Corn, flax, rye, buckwheat, millet, canola, sugar, beets, potatoes. I mean, all that stuff is sprayed to with glyphosate. You know, it's crazy. So you have to pay attention. Like not every single thing, but that's the big agri farms. That's what they're doing for sure, right? And even a lot of the mid-sized ones and stuff like that. So that's why going to farmers markets and things like that are better, because they're smaller farms and you can sort of, they have a little bit more of a heart, at least. A lot of them have a big heart, and they make things with love and everything like that. And those are the farmers that you search out in there. But at the very least, you know, there's certain ethics from actual certified farmers markets that the guys or the farmers have to uphold to, and like the farmers actually have to sell their own stuff. They don't buy it like in the you know, over in LA or whatever, the major metropolitan part of the city that you live in, right? So those are big things, you know. So you know, understanding that you have to pay attention to that, it becomes like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? I don't have enough time for that. And that's what our community is for. All right. That's what our community is for. That's why we have the MOVIDA community. That's why we have our community code. You know, like I am a biohacker. I choose to achieve vibrant health naturally without the use of pharmaceuticals or harmful medications or chemicals, right? I do not play the victim. I don't say, oh my God, I don't have enough time or something like that. You know, you join a community where it's already built out for you, and you just like, you know, sort of go along the guidelines and then do research along the way, verify stuff, you know, and, you know, get healthier, you know. I eat healthy and exercise regularly, so you understand that eating healthy is now worrying about like where your food came from, being more thoughtful about the things that you put inside of you, right? I use preventive care methods to maintain health. This is one of them, right? I refuse to be weakened or broken down. I ask questions. I seek the truth. That's what this is all about, right? I take action and I lead by example, right? Every day, I'm excited to get up off the sidelines and participate in this game called life. So we have the possibilities of being healthier than we've ever been able to be, right? But it's also way easier to be so unhealthy, more unhealthy than we've ever been in the history of the world. Like, they don't call type 2 diabetes adult onset anymore because so many children have it. Like children, the big thing now is getting arthritis, like kids, like not even double digit kids, like single digit age kids with arthritis, right? And it's crazy. So it's because of the things that we're ingesting, the things we're exposed to out here and stuff like that. But we put in food all the time. People like with the cannabis and stuff like that, they come at me and like, do you have testing this and that? Like our stuff is pristine as hell, but like you become like a chemist when you talk about something that you have a minute amount of stuff, but you don't pay attention to the things that you ingest daily, constantly, from coffee to your any kind of other kind of drink, to even the water, to every food that you put in your body, like multiple times a day, every single day, so we got to pay attention to this stuff. I'm passionate about this. I've been studying this forever and I have a good handle on it. I've been around for 32 years. I have people that have been around me for 32 years, right? I'm meeting one tomorrow, right? And these people could give testimonials like about from all the way back then to now, right? And then we have, from people that started last week, from it's continuous of thousands and thousands of people. We don't joke around about this stuff. We're very, very serious about what we do over here. We provide, like an instrument for you or a vehicle for you to be able to get to the bath quicker. My girl Laura, she actually called me, her shortcut to vibrant health. Right? Because that's basically what we are. We've done all the research for you. You'd never want you to just blindly follow anybody, right? Just you do your own research, but you find people that you vibe with. So if you vibe with this, if you vibe with our community code, then hop on board with us and just fucking hang out, and slowly, like we said yesterday's thing, slowly, just one thing at a time, just incorporate some stuff. You don't do it all at once, like a fire hose coming at you. Just do these slow, logical steps, and you're on a path, and all you do is one step after the other, one foot in front of the other, and just pay attention. Pay attention, be patient, persistent, consistent. Patient, persistent, consistent, just day in and day out, right? If you fall off, then notice it right then and get back on right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now, right? So I'm getting too excited, because I'm pissed off about this though, man. I can't believe that they're doing this kind of stuff. And they've been doing it for like 3 or 4 decades, right? It's crazy. Since the stuff's been around, since the mid 70s or whatever, 74. I forget what exact year it is. But so we got to pay attention to this stuff big time, and I see the health differences, and how extreme everything is, and that's why I'm doing these live things now. I'm an introvert. I don't like to come out and do all this stuff, but it's so necessary. We're being bamboozled. I'll just leave it at that. We're being bamboozled. So again, this is Al Morenson with MOVIDA. Thank you. Have a beautiful day, and we really appreciate you watching these videos. And we're gonna be doing many, many more. Peace.